How you doing? I'm Matt Weldon, Pro Drifter. Today we're going to be installing the Mishimoto intercooler kit in the 2010 Hyundai Genesis 4-cylinder turbo.
What you want to do is disconnect the negative terminal of the battery before you get going here, because this is where all the trouble starts.
You want to find your optimal jack point. And be sure to securely jack up and support your vehicle.
Remove the 4 plastic splash shield screws from the front bumper. Your 2 10mm lower splash shield, duped by the 4th 10mm head bolt and the lower splash shield. Remove all the pop tabs along the front bumper and from the grill area. This is where you turn up the elevator music a little bit. After you get all the bolts out of the bumper, everything will pull right apart. There you go. Bumper is off. All right, when you're ready to drain the coolant out of the rad, the drainer out right here. Open the radiator cap so that the coolant starts draining out. Just don't let your pets around this. Dogs love this stuff. This is the upper rad bracket. What you want to do is remove these 2 screws. 10mm socket here, 2 10mm head bolts here. Just keep a note that the R is on the right side of the car. Keep an eye on that guy, it's the left side. Take these guys out, and this is the coolant reservoir area. Make sure you note that these screws on this guy are not regular thread. All right, once you get these 2 screws out, pull up gently on this guy. See that? Just slides right in there. There's a peg on this bottom. That's where it slides into the fan shroud. Remove the hose from the water neck. There's 2 10mm head bolts that hold this guy right to the rad. This is the fan and shroud. This is the fan wiring right here. We're going to unplug this guy right now before we get any further with it. The other screw for this is directly underneath of the upper radiator hose over here. These 2 10mm screws have actual threads on them. Make sure you note the difference between the overflow tank and the actual fan shroud. Just pull up on this guy and maneuver it out of the way. And it might take you a little bit to slide it on out, but you guys get the idea. We're going to remove this insulator strip, and that will expose the rad. And this is exactly why you want a Mishimoto rad in your car. See how thin this is? What is this coolant? Definitely want to get a pair of pliers on there. Squeeze that guy, move this guy down the hose a little bit. Or get a pair of pliers underneath of it. Loosen the hose from the rad. Alright, now you got to take the lower rad hose, take the clamp, squeeze it together, and slide it back off of the water neck for the radiator. Once that's slid back, you can pull the hose right off of here. After you have the radiator hoses disconnected, you're going to have to unbolt the radiator from the intercooler itself. These bolts are located right inside of the wheel well right here. And check this out. There's 2 on each side, and the same 2 bolts are right on the other side of the car. So undo these 4 bolts, and you should be able to pull the radiator right out, which I'll show you in a second. Lift the side tank of the AC core up, and lift it out of the holsters of the radiator. It slides in. We'll show you those in a second. And then the radiator should be ready to come right out of here. See these holsters right here? This is what the AC condenser slides into. Slide these down on the rubber tube a little bit, just so you can get these things free. Once you get that off, you're good to go. This is why we're replacing this stuff here. After you get the hose clamp on there, what you want to do is be careful. Pull that guy up out of there like that. Once that's free, you pretty much can pull this intercooler out without a problem. Alright, see that? Intercooler's coming out. This is your stock intercooler for a 4-cylinder Genesis. Before you completely remove the cold pipe from the car, you're going to need to disconnect this sensor. Easiest way here is just to unscrew it and hold it off to the side until you're ready to install it into the new pipe. And that's all. Just lay this guy off to the side and make sure it doesn't get damaged for the time being. You're pretty much free to take the whole cold section off, and Hyundai has been so kind to put this security hose clamp on here Here's how you guys are going to get that off at home. Just take a pair of pliers and just kind of work this off a little bit here. Work this guy around. There you go. This is your cold side of the intercooler piping. What you want to do is take the 12 millimeter, put it right on this guy right here to get this pipe off. Now we are going to remove the front air dam from the car so that it facilitates room for the intercooler. Just pull up on those guys and they slide right out. Attach the intercooler brackets with the rounded side towards the rad support facing outwards. And locate the 2 screw holes located underneath of the car. If you have the brackets on and you leave them a little bit loose, you want to hold the intercooler up and get this guy mounted up in here. Line them up and then install the supplied bolts through the bottom of the bracket. After you have the intercooler mounted, what you want to start with is this U-shaped pipe. This is the lower cold side. This guy is going to fit right in here like this. From there, you're going to start with this connector, which is a 90-degree Mishimoto connector. And you slip this guy on to that cold pipe. This is the upper cold pipe, and note the pressure sensor locator. The Mishimoto stamping goes towards the throttle body. Make sure it fits in down here, as well as on the lower cold pipe going to the intercooler. Once everything is fit together, we can put clamps on it. This is a 2 3/4 inch T-bolt clamp. This is how it goes on. There you go. Screw that nut on there, and then when we're gonna tighten down on this guy. This is the lower hot side of the intercooler pipe, and what you want to do is slip this in through here. It's going to come up inside the engine bay and plug right into the intercooler. This pipe right here is the upper hot pipe that attaches between the turbo and the lower hot pipe. Use the supplied silicone connector to go between the 2 pipes. Once everything's in place, hose clamp it up. Alright, this is the pressure sensor that we removed from the piping earlier. This is to be reinstalled back in the piping here. Make sure the O-ring is on and everything is sealed. After the pressure sensor is flushly mounted on the flange, install the 2 10mm head bolts. This concludes the intercooler install for the Hyundai Genesis 4-cylinder turbo.